There it is. We are live, baby. First live, first time going live. Welcome to Deconflicted, the podcast where we talk about perspectives on the three Ds, which is discernment, decisions, and deconflictions. You already know I'm your host, Antoine Jarvis. I got my brother right here. Boom.
Bryan Boggs here to provide that perspective you might not have considered to help you deconflict any other perspectives you may have.
There it is right there. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Um, what is reality? I like that. I like that heading right there. I like that question right there. When you brought that up to me yesterday, I was like, man, that's a deep question right there because that's not a yes or no question,
Right.
and it requires you to do some thinking. What is reality to you? And if
See,
you
and it's
can't
funny you
really,
say that part. When you say that to you,
right,
because once you add that to you, it goes from reality
to
to
this,
perspective.
facts, facts, yes. And I think it's important for us to really dive into that, man, because we see um, and I'm not saying we are going to be the cure for the suicide rates or cure for you know uh, decreasing divorce rates. You know what I
Right.
mean? Or any of that type of stuff. But I mean, I think the perspective is important to have. I think it's at least good to have a conversation about different options and perspectives that we could be utilizing.
And that's the biggest thing. Think about all the suicide lines. The reason why they got suicide lines is so that somebody can talk to somebody to provide a different perspective than what they're already thinking.
hmm Oh, while we're at it, real quick, let me go ahead and set my phone on Do Not Disturb before somebody try to call me on some nonsense. Hold on, real quick.
You know this should have been set up beforehand. We are live, but that's
I totally
fine.
forgot. I totally forgot. I'm like, I totally forgot. I was like, hold on, I'm missing something. I heard a bing real quick. I was like, yeah, no, we gotta let's go ahead and cut that real quick. Um, but yeah, it's for and reality changes depending on who you're talking to, and when you're talking about the suicide lines, and I'm glad you brought that up. Um, with suicide lines, man, I think that, and I was listening to tools of the Titans, and they were talking about a lot of people, a lot of people go through what they go through because of their perspectives on life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Whether you go through good things in life, whether you go through bad things in life, it has a lot to do with your
How you see it.
perspectives
It's all
on
about how you
how
see
you
it.
see it. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate you for recommending that book because that, man, it's because it's different perspectives from people from different walks of life.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like just one area that they focused on. It's people from literally different walks of life giving you their tools to be successful.
There's a spectrum of people
That's what it
who have
is.
accomplished things at the highest levels.
And who are working on higher levels because in their
Exactly. And
mind,
it shows you that even people that do things at the highest levels, they're always in a process of improvement.
mm,
You know what
that's
I'm saying?
facts. That's
And
facts.
a lot of us, we get so content in our lives that we stop trying to improve because we think we've hit that pinnacle and we've made it to where we should be. But life is talk about biological life is always in a state of evolution.
Mm. And I think that's what we forget. That part right there. The part of what you said is we are constantly in a state of evolution. You know what I'm saying? And then we end up getting pissed off when people, you know, change on us, right? Or do things differently. Well, hold on. I expect you to be this way. When I met you 10, 15, 20 years ago, you was this way. Now all of a sudden you Now all of a sudden you changed up on me, man. You fake, bro. You changed up. No, bro. I evolved. I evolved.
Exactly.
You
Now
know
I
what
can
I'm
see
saying?
if
Like,
you say that if a person's behavior towards you changed, where they had a certain amount of love for you and now they don't, I can understand you feeling a certain way. But if a person's behavior or thought processes change and yours didn't, you can't get mad at that person for upgrading their hardware
mm, you
or
can never
software,
get
better
mad
yet.
at. Right.
So, like one thing on me, like really when I think about what is reality, because, there's the old saying, perception is reality. And a lot of people treat
Mm-hmm.
that saying as a cliche. But to me, the more I see it, it's a fact. It is a fact that perception is reality. Because
Perception
there's
is
been a, there's
reality.
been a study done. There is no such thing as objective reality. Because all reality is based upon perception, observation. You
Mm.
know the old saying, if a tree falls in the woods, did it make a sound? That and a lot of people say, yeah, it did make a sound. I'm like, but technically, it didn't make a sound if nobody heard it. If it wasn't recorded,
Mm. There's no way.
exactly. I mean, think about it.
How did it make a sound if nobody heard it?
That exactly. That's like a deaf person can't hear sound. So if a deaf person can't hear,
Mm. Did it really make a sound?
to that
Well, no,
person,
yeah, it made a sound, and somebody probably heard it. Well, no, I mean, at the end of the day, did you hear it?
that exactly. At the end of the day, did you hear it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or do anybody heard it? You know what I'm saying? Like, because it requires observation.
Mm. That's an interesting way of looking at it right there. And this is why I like, having these different perspectives on things because, again, like you said about, evolution, people are going to evolve. No matter how much you don't want them to, they're going to evolve. And a lot of it is going to be based off of their environment, what they expose themselves to. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people
Right.
think that, I don't have mentors or I don't have people in my life to show me different outlooks on how to look at things differently. I'm like, shit. Yes, you do. If you got a library, you got motivational speakers, you got access to different perspectives. You just got to grab a damn book.
If you got a cell
And you got a cell phone.
phone.
Right. And I remember when they was doing the Obama phone. So there's no reason why you ain't got no damn cell phone because they was passing out them damn Obama phones. You understand
Exactly.
me? So you are correct. If you got a computer in your hand, right? And if you need some motivation, you can literally pull up an audio book online. And if you ain't got no funds, you can grab one on YouTube for free. There's a lot of books on. Man, I'm as a truck driver, I listen to audiobooks all the damn time. I
Absolutely.
prefer, don't get me wrong, I prefer the actual book itself. I prefer the actual book itself. But the audiobooks, I can still paint a picture of what's being told to me. Sometimes I gotta you know what I'm saying, rewind it a little bit. Oh, hold on, let me hit that again real quick. Ooh. You see what I'm saying? And
Absolutely.
when you do that, man, you don't there's no reason why a person can tell. It's just perspective. You want to be the victim. You want to look at things in a negative way. You want
It's
people to feel
easier.
sorry for you because it's
It's
easier
easier.
for you. It's straight up easier for you. And it sucks because there are some amazing and great people, but they can't even recognize their own potential because they won't get out their own way. You know what I'm saying? They refuse to get out their own way. So that's
Facts.
why I'm like, man, like, listen, there is, and I had to, don't get me wrong, I had to learn this my damn self. You know what I mean? So I'm only speaking from my own personal experience
I've
of what
seen
I
your evolution.
experienced. You see what I'm saying? That's what I experienced because at the end of the day, when you're around great people and you're around great minds, it motivates you to want to do better. Like period. Like I'm goal writing, freaking reading books, finishing books. You know what I'm saying? Like semen retention. Like all this stuff that you're working out, working on your fitness, all that type of stuff, man, allows you to focus on a better version of yourself.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So, what's some practices that you use as a different way to shine different perspectives in your life?
So one thing that I try to do is I try to look at things, taking myself out of an equation,
Mm,
doing the reasonable person standard. Even though the definition of reasonable, it can slide either way that person defines it. But
hmm
the way I try to improve upon my thinking and everything is I take myself out of the equation. I look at something from the perspective of the person who did it, the person that received it, and then look at it like, okay, what's the other ways this same picture can be interpreted?
mm,
Because when you it's like art, and they say life imitates art, you know, but art is supposed to imitate life. So, because life is what the real art is. This thing we have, life is it's a beautiful thing, and there's so many
hmm
different shades of it, and you can get anything out of it that you want. So, I try to see things from different angles.
hmm
Because when I look at things from different angles, that allows me to keep a perspective that's more positive instead of
mm,
focusing on that negative perspective. I mean, because like anything that happens, you can look at it positively, you can look at it negatively. I mean, we could take the Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, and Chris Rock, he came in and he said, he's like, hey, I wasn't a victim, and he has the right to have that perspective. He's like, and he said something that was so cool to me. He said, I don't go to the hospital for a paper cut. We get over it.
mm.
The slap was a paper cut. There's no reason to go to make this such a big
Mm.
deal.
I didn't even know he said that.
Yeah, he said that.
That's so profound.
Ain't it profound?
Man, that is so profound for a black man in his divine masculinity to say something like that after being slapped by another brother, right? And for him to say, "I don't go to the hospital for a paper cut. That slap was a paper cut." Wow. Carry on. Finish what you were saying. That just took me back real quick. That took me
Yeah.
back
Oh,
real
it's all
quick.
good. It's all good. So like I'm saying, like that's where I try to keep myself in a similar type of mind state. We all are made from our experiences, and I've had my share of positive and negative experiences, and I didn't always choose the positive perspective, but
Hmm
but now I tend to focus on the positive more than the negative, just because focusing on the negative, only thing it does is it decreases the value of your life.
Mm.
It decreases the
Decreases the value. Ooh. Ooh.
yeah.
Carry on. I'm listening. Decreases
Yeah,
the
yeah,
value of your life.
it decreases the value of your
Wow.
life because the value of your life is based upon the experiences you have in your life. And if you're focusing on the negative, all you're gonna look at is the negative experiences, and that's all your spirit and your mind is going to be tied up in is the negative parts. And if you're just focusing on the negative parts, man, you're missing a whole lot of other good stuff.
That's
Like I
funny you
said
said that.
before, unfortunate things happen all the time.
Hmm
Fortunate things happen, unfortunate things happen
For everybody.
for everybody.
For everybody. It's not
You know
just
what I'm saying?
for you. It's literally across the spectrum for
Across the
everybody.
spectrum.
Yeah.
across the spectrum, and that's why that's why I say I'm not a victim. Fortunate things happen, unfortunate things happen. My job is to look at when the unfortunate things happen, look at what my factors in that equation were,
Hmm.
and make adjustment.
He said my factors.
Yeah,
Wow. Hmm. So
and
basically,
here's another
how
thing.
you what you had to do with what took place, good or bad.
Facts, 100%. And like the thing with what's reality, and people's reality is a lot of people base their reality based upon their environment, the people are around. But my thing is, if the people you're around giving you a negative reality or a reality that you don't desire, change the people you're around. Like you literally have that power to like go from one group of people to say, you know what, I don't want to be around these people no more. I might go over here. These people seem to be a little bit more positive. I'm gonna hang around these people. Like that's and people don't see the power in themselves to
Hmm.
make the decision that's best for themselves. People think that they have to stay in these negative cycles. Like me and you, we both grew up in the projects. And I got friends of mine, that took the project life. This is my life. This is my lifestyle. Hey, all right, no power to you, brother. You're entitled to live whatever lifestyle you so choose. I don't
Well,
want to
hold on.
live a life.
I didn't grow up in the projects. I grew up in residential Section A housing. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
in the
So
hood.
it's a little. I'm a little more bougie.
Yeah, you're a little bougie.
Go ahead, carry on, brother.
But and for me, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I love the neighborhood I grew up in.
Right.
I really do. I love the Fair Apartments. But that wasn't the existence I wanted my entire life. I didn't want to live a life of scarcity. I wanted to live a life of abundance. And I knew that at a young age.
Having the abundance mindset at an early age.
Yeah.
I think that's so damn important, man, because I think that's why so many people hate on other people
Yeah.
because they don't know how to have an abundance mindset. So now you looking at this person that having something, right? This person's halves are not your halves. See, because it's not your halves in your mind, you thinking, well, I'm gonna hate on this person, or I want to take from this person. You understand what I'm saying? And
Right.
I think you hit I think that you hit on an important perspective is because if you can change your reality in regards to how you see things, right? You don't have to torment yourself. You don't have to torture yourself and then blame it on somebody else.
Right.
Like me personally, at where I'm at in life, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear you complain about what somebody else is putting you through when in all actuality it's you doing it. You are your own worst enemy. And again, I went through my spectrum. You understand what I'm saying? I went through my phases. I went through my stages of elevation. You see what I'm saying? But sometimes for me, I had to isolate myself to really get to a point to where I'm seeing, okay, what am I really doing? Am I part of the solution? Am I part of the problem?
Facts.
You understand what I'm saying? And if I can't see myself as part of the solution, listen, let me fall back again. Let me fall back and really work on myself. That's the whole shadow work. When everybody says,
Yes.
oh, I'm doing the shadow work, that's the shadow work. Can you fall back and isolate yourself, or do you have to jump into another relationship? Do you have to say, you know what? That one didn't work. I'm not going to take the time to address myself. You know what I mean? Hey, she fly right there, man. Let me go ahead and let me go ahead and jump into her space and see how I can make this work. Well, hold on, man. Hey, take some time to yourself. You see what I'm saying? What's your thoughts on isolation leading to elevation?
I'm a firm believer in it.
Okay.
And here's why, because I like the analogy utilized, like, jumping out of one relationship to another. And the reason why people do that is normally because they're looking for someone to give them something they can't give themselves.
God dog. Hey. They're looking for that. They're looking for somebody to fill that void, if you
Yes.
will.
But at the end of the day, you got to be the provider of everything you need in life. Like it all the tools are there already. Whether or not you see them is a whole nother question. And that's why I think isolation, and when I say isolation, I don't mean cutting yourself off from everybody in the world, but just taking the time to, like, meditation, or prayer, you know, those are forms of isolation where you're taking the time to really consider your thoughts and figure some stuff out. And I think that's important to do it every day
Mm,
is to isolate and just focus and think about things you think about and think about why you think about them. Like there's a book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. It's a really good book. Uh, and they're talking business, and why companies go into business and all this stuff. But if you look at that and apply that to your life, is why does something matter? If you start questioning your assumptions. Matter of fact, I literally had that conversation with my daughter today. If you question your own assumptions, a lot of times the solution is so simple right in front of you. But because you
mm.
made a bad assumption, you can't see it.
Because you made a bad assumption, you can't even see it. Ooh, that's a powerful statement. And see, that's why I like to look at things from an alchemist perspective, right? Because everything's frequencies, vibrations, um, perspectives, energy. I really feel if we remember that everything in life is a science experiment. You understand what I'm saying? And you don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over again, thinking that oh yeah, it's going to get better if I keep doing the same thing. You can actually be able to look at somebody else's science experiment and see that didn't work for them. So if it didn't work for them, you know what I mean, and we have similar qualities or similar upbringings or similar personalities or similar anything, let me utilize what they went through, right? And look at my own perspective and see what can I keep and what can I throw away. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? And then let me formulate my own reality based off of what I want to see.
Yes.
That's the whole. If I don't know if people grab that book, the Alchemist, but that's really what was going on. Utilizing this right here, which is a million times better than any computer you pick. If you can look at a computer and glorify a computer, you're not really understanding how the mind works.
What made computer? How did computers come about?
Come on, man, come on. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I mean, when you really break down what is freaking possible when you really utilize your mind and really tap in, like, I mean, they was making there's pyramids in the Americas, North America, South America, that is aligned in such a way. That the pyramids in Africa and Southern Asia, the way it's aligned strategically and mathematically, is most people still can't fathom how it was done, right? And it's a whole other conversation, but they used to call the Egyptians the people of the net. And I'm like, well, is that where they got the idea of the intranet or internet? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
That's a whole nother way of thinking, right? But I'm like, dude, that just goes to show the power of the mind if you decide to control what the hell you decide to fathom or process in your mind.
That's powerful right there.
Why?
What are you processing in your mind?
Mm, come on, man.
A lot of times we feed our minds that bullshit.
But why though? Why are we choosing? Why do you think we choose to feed ourselves that bullshit?
This is my estimation of why.
Right. Right.
is naturally people have a belief system that was either instilled or acquired,
Presets, if you will.
presets,
Okay.
and it's crazy because when people do research to find out what truth is, they normally look at stuff that reinforces what they already believe. And
Mm. Because it's
then as soon
already
as they see
there. Law of
something,
attraction.
exactly, as soon as they see something that goes against what they believe, they automatically flush that. Nah, that's a lie. That's conspiracy. That's this, that's that. And I'm like, okay. So if you just constantly just reinforce, what's in your head, you gonna keep filling your head with the same BS it's been filled with.
Mm. Yeah. Law of attraction. It's and that's where I think education, and when I say education, I always like to let people know, listen, education does not equal, excuse me, intelligence. It's not the same thing. Just because you got an education does not mean you're going to be intelligent. Um, what are you doing with that knowledge that you're getting will lead to intelligence. You understand what I'm saying? And the reason why I say that is because, people will go online and get one perspective and just go off that one perspective and shoot themselves in the foot off that one perspective versus saying, you know what, let me get the broad spectrum of what I'm looking at and then be able to form my own reality, if you will, based off of the broad spectrum. You see what I'm saying? Now
Right.
that's how you can apply the now we're going into the application of the knowledge that you're acquiring. And I feel that a lot of us get to the point to where I was talking to somebody a few weeks back, and they were telling me that they still have people around them that have done them dirty multiple occasions in their life. They still have people around them that that have done that in their history, and I'm like, why have you not realized the snake is going to bite you, and you don't like being bit by you don't like being you told me that what you have said. You told me you don't like being bit by a snake. You don't like how
Hey.
that feels, but you still keep that snake in your garden. Like, why? When you don't have to. Why are
Facts.
you doing that to yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you doing that to yourself? And then you complain every single time you get bit. Now, I'm starting to look at you as a snake in my garden because you haven't done anything physically to me, but mentally, what you keep trying to have me believe is supposed to be reality. It's not. It's not my reality. People I'm around are manifestors,
Right.
right? And that's how my mind. I'm choosing my mind to look at things. I'm choosing my mind to work that way. The people I have in my life are manifestors. The people I'm going to meet in my life are manifestors. Period. So that means even the people I'm going to meet later on in life that I have yet to meet, I'm already setting the tone that they are going to be manifestors in my life. Like, you control all of that.
Facts.
Like, you are 100% responsible for what you control in your life. Because the things that are even outside of your control are irrelevant. If you choose to add relevancy to the things you can't control, that's your fault.
Hey, you get it right on the head there, man. Right on the head. And I want to add a little bit more to the snake part because that's why I was laughing because I literally had this conversation in my head a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because a lot of people see snakes in their grass and they keep going out sitting on the lawn. keep getting bit by the same snake. Like I don't understand that.
Come on.
Like in my philosophy, I feel like look, if you got snakes in your grass, you either got to kill that snake or go buy a new house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You need to move.
You need to do something.
You got to do something.
You got to do something.
you
You got to do something. Straight up.
you got to do something, and so many, and I know so many people who get bit, as you will, and then they chalk it up as, well, I deserve to get bit. and, and then they keep being around that same snake. Like, I'm sorry, like, you see my dog. I'm a dog owner. I'm a dog lover. Got a dog tattoo. But my dog bite me, unprovoked. That dog ain't gonna be my dog no more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get rid of you, because if you can bite me once, why wouldn't you bite me a second time?
Why wouldn't you?
Who's to say that the next time it won't be fatal? Why do I gotta have all these thoughts running through my head? I mean, I like peace of mind.
Let me tell you why I'm laughing. Right? I had somebody tell me, right? This is a few years ago, man, when I was, heavily in the dating market, man, really just trying to not making the time to appreciate myself and work on myself and value myself, like you said before, the value. Um, I didn't have the perspective I had today. So, I would plan dates. I planned 2 dates, right? And one time was a last minute date that didn't work out. They had an excuse that didn't work out. Then I even, I said, let me plan ahead real quick. Planned ahead. That didn't even work out. So that person had the audacity, right? When I brought up the idea of, what, this just ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Because my time is valuable, and if I'm trying to give you my time, and it's not being reciprocated, um, I'm not going to just sit back and tolerate you just not having no respect for my time, because now I'm not respecting myself. And
Facts.
they had the audacity to say that's ludicrous. Like, it only happened 2 times. Like, why would that be a problem? Like, if you I said I just got to cut you off, because if I don't cut you off, you've already showed your hand. If I don't cut you off, you're going to keep doing that, right? And they was like, that's crazy. Like, if I cut off every person that, what I mean, that did me wrong after a few times, like, I wouldn't have nobody around. And I'm like, that's your perspective. That's the value that you place on your life. That's the boundary that you set for yourself and your relationships. And that's totally fine. I'm not saying that what you're doing is wrong or right. What I'm telling you is that's insufficient for my life. Because if I allow you to disrespect my time now, which is the most valuable commodity I have access to, is my time. A dollar comes and goes, right? A dollar
Right.
comes and goes. My time is something I'll never get back, and I offered my time to you, which I could have gave to somebody else, and you specifically on both counters, on both occasions, you was like, nope, I gotta do this. I'm a damn fool. My mama ain't raised no fool.
Facts.
I'm a damn fool if I allow you to have another space in my mind, right? Just so you can do that again. Like, why? If you did it twice, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would I allow you to another opportunity to do that again? Even if you're
Exactly.
a changed person, even if you evolved, that's irrelevant to me, because the time that I needed you to be in my space, when I wanted you to be in my space, you chose not to. And that's okay. You have the right to choose, who you spend your time with, but don't be try to listen, don't be try to gaslight me into thinking that it's my fault and I'm in the wrong for not allowing you to keep doing that to me. And that's the first time I ever used that term gaslight. That's a new concept, but that's the first time I ever used that concept because I've never allowed somebody to do that to me more than once. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I didn't have partners, you know what I'm saying, that I grew up with and decided to leave me. And back when I was younger in my 20s, like, you know what I'm saying, somebody was, I got left I got left at the club one time, by a quote unquote homeboy, you know what I'm saying, a coworker that I thought, valued me more than what was reality. Left me at the club downtown, man, and went off with some chicks, man. I seen him the next day. I'm like, hey man, let's go to the we was working as I was a Navy we was Navy contractors. We was working on the carriers. I was like, man, hey, let's just head to the bathroom real quick, man. So we can go ahead and get it on real quick, and then we can be cool afterwards. You know what I'm saying? No homo. Um and he spazzed out. He was like, what? You wanna fight me because of that? Like why would you wanna fight me because of that? And this is back in the days where uh we had, the Nokia phones, right? The Nokia phones with the green screens. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
obviously, like I said, I'm about to be 40 August 24th. You know what I'm saying? So this is back in my early 20s. No Nokia green screen. My phone had died. Um, this uh 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 uh, uh you know there wasn't no cabs driving around and all type of other stuff. I was stuck. You understand what I'm saying? So I had to navigate my way up out of that situation. But when I wanted to fight him because I felt disrespected, he felt that I was in the wrong for that. And I'm like, man, if we're supposed to be partners, right? If we're supposed to be partners, bro, I'm gonna look out for you. You know what I'm saying? Where are you at in the club? Oh, okay, I see him. Now I'm back to talking to, what I'm saying? If I'm chopping it up with a female, I need to make sure everybody good. Okay, cool. Because that's how I roll, right? Could I have been wrong for expecting him to look at me the same way I look at him? Yes. For being honest, yes. However, I felt because I was disrespected, it was okay for us for us to go fist to cuffs. That don't mean I hate you, right? That don't mean I hate you. That just means that, hey man, like you need to be disciplined, right? And he didn't, you know what I'm saying? He turned it down. He was like, no, I don't want no parts of that, bro. Like that's weird. Like why would you try to fight me over something like that? You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I look at that today and I'm like, man, I choose not to be around people who don't value me.
That's how you're supposed to be.
You know what I'm saying? When we're out and about, I'll be damned if you don't even think to consider making sure I'm good. I don't care what you're doing, how you spending your time. If we go out together, we're supposed to come back together. You understand what I'm saying?
I
And
agree.
I don't think you have to tell you. Somebody told me, and I forget who told me this, man, who coined this phrase, but you can never say the wrong thing to the right person, right? I don't have to tell you to look out for me when we're in a place where anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? When we at home chilling, we having a few drinks, you know what I'm saying, on some Madden or doing whatever, we building up. That's different. But when we're out and about in the public, right, where anything can happen, if you're not worried about your man's and them, man, like I think you was raised wrong.
I think
Me
that's an assumption
personally,
you're making.
and I think that's what it was. I think that's what it was. That's why I said earlier I could be wrong in assuming he was going to look at things the same way I did.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
E-
And
Exactly.
and again, I was in my early 20s. I'm about to be 40, next month. I look at things differently now. Now I'm not even trying to. I'm not finna fight you over that type of shit. I'm just gonna just walk out the equation.
Hey, remove myself from the equation.
There you go.
That's where I'm at in life. Because I was the same way, man. When I was a younger man, disrespect meant so much to me. It impacted me negatively, and just like you said, you had the discipline. I felt the same way. If a person disrespected me, I gotta discipline him. I gotta let him know that I ain't that guy to play with. I gotta let him
Mm.
know that I don't roll that way. But but just like you say, as we get older, and that's that we consider ourselves educating others, but it's more of a miseducation. You know what I'm saying? And the best thing we can do for ourselves is to remove ourselves.
Why do you say it's a miseducation?
So this is why I say it's a miseducation. So when we were younger men, we felt that when we were disrespected, that a violent retribution was required. You know, whether it was fisticuffs, you know, or normally it was, hey man, we got to fight. You know, we got to go, but let's
Right.
settle this like men. Let's go box it out, or let's fight real quick, and then we can be cool afterwards. But the problem is, you never know how another person receives that message. And if you look at what happens in the streets nowadays, I mean, it ain't just been happening nowadays. It's been happening when we were young. You know, some people don't know how to take ass whooping. You know, so that education you're trying to give, it actually teaches them that, okay, so I got to kill this man. Or what it does, it continues that cycle of violence that doesn't lead to anything positive. Like, you don't get positivity out of violence. It
Mm.
feels good.
Man, but I thought we did.
You know,
You know what I'm saying? So we
it
don't, we
feels
don't, we
good
can't,
though.
we can't breed. So you're saying we can't breed positivity from violence, is what you're saying?
Facts.
Ah, I thought we could.
I did
I
too.
thought we could. Man, it took me a while to understand that because I went
Yeah.
from Sacramento to moving to San Diego, and I thought I could take that same mentality I had in Sacramento. You know what I'm saying? And apply that in San Diego with the cats that I'm meeting in San Diego, and that was not the case
Right.
because they didn't grow up the same way I grew up.
And that's another function of what reality is. Because your reality is a function of the experiences that you've dealt with in your life. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
And I
trying to
say
enforce
function
my reality onto you, is what you're
exactly.
saying. Hey, I know somebody can relate, man. I know somebody can relate. That is real shit. We're trying to enforce our reality upon other people, and then we get
Always.
mad when they don't see things the way we see things, because we try to force them to see things the way we see things.
That's the reason for all wars, man. If you look at anything that's happening in the world, you know the biggest. Hey, they want to change our way of life, the way we see life. You know what I'm saying? They want to make what they deal with what we deal with, and it's been going on forever. Like it's
Yeah,
a it's 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 a product of life.
an
You
evolution.
know, exactly. But the problem is people always want to make other people see things the way they see them because everybody thinks they're right. Everybody's the hero in a story.
Mm,
Nobody's the
yep.
villain.
Nobody's
Nobody is
villain
the
ever,
villain. Everybody's the
ever,
hero.
ever. Correct. Right, because that's ego right there.
Exactly. In their
That's
story,
that ego.
they're the hero. Now, in another story, they the villain, but in their own story, they the hero.
Mm, yeah, you're not lying. You're not lying. We and we approach things in that manner, and offer things that nobody even asked for. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes a person just want to vent to you. They didn't ask for you to figure out the solution for them. Sometimes they just want to vent. You know what I'm saying? Now
Right.
you like, well, you should, man, I wouldn't take that, bro. You know what I'm saying? You should have did this. Well, hold on, man. I didn't even ask for all that, man. Like, I trust you. I trust you, man. I just want to have this conversation with you, man. I ain't asked for all that. You know what I'm saying? Um, and that ego is a mug, man. That ego is why so many relationships devolve.
Yes.
So many relationships go in a negative direction because the ego is so great in the person. Like you said, they figure they are the hero. They can never see themselves as the villain, right? And because they don't see themselves as the villain, they can never see that dual perspective of who they can be depending on who's looking. You know what I'm saying? And I think that ego is what kills, kills relationships, kills business arrangements, kills definitely in the black community. Um,
All
you know what I'm
communities.
saying? In all communities. And it's like, man, like we can't really grow if we don't address that ego. Bars. I wasn't even trying to make that rhyme, but that was bars right there. But we can't we can't grow. We can't grow if we don't address that ego. And I had to do that my damn self. Like, you know what? How I'm looking at things, if somebody provides another perspective, I'm not weak for looking at the other perspective. I heard a girl say this right here. My son Abraham sent me this on IG. It was three girls, and they felt strongly about this. They said something in the regards of if your man, right, is laughing at another man's joke, that man is the alpha and your man's the beta. And they was like, yep, yep. I said, what? If your man is laughing at another man's joke,
That don't even make any
your man is
sense.
the beta. This is why
I
I
mean,
tell
but
my son all the time, man. Be careful of who you get advice from. Not to say that he was getting advice from them, but I told him, I said, hey, use this as a reminder of how important it is to be careful on who you get advice from.
I would use that as an example of always remember there are a lot of idiots in the world.
That part. That part. Hey, real shit. Yeah. Yeah. Straight up. Because that's like, I'm pretty sure that's when you was like, when you heard that, I'm pretty sure you was like, what did he just say? Yes.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what I
like,
thought when
huh?
I heard this. I'm like, and there's women next to them like, I'm like, wait a minute, what? You not gonna hold her accountable that nonsense?
I mean, but
Nah,
here's
they're
another
not they're
part of
not
it
gonna hold her
though.
accountable.
Here's another part of it though. That woman has the right to think whatever she so chooses.
Bingo.
If that's the perspective she wants to have on men, she can have it. It's a
Hmm.
bad perspective. It's disillusioned.
Right.
It's a bad assumption. But I'm not in the business of trying to correct people's assumptions.
I ain't
uh,
clearing up
I,
nothing.
hey, here's the thing: is hey, if a person is screaming about how they right when they wrong as hell, you can argue with them to try to prove that they wrong, or you can let them be. And this brings me to an old saying that I constantly say that I learned from a friend of mine's dad. He's like, you don't argue with an idiot because people from a distance can't tell who's the idiot.
Mm. Just ponder on that for a little bit.
Ponder on
You know what I'm saying?
that.
Ponder on that. Because anybody who's listening to this right now is going to be like, they're going to picture that.
Yeah.
They're going to picture that because we visualize everything. They're
Yep.
going to visualize that right there from the outside. They're going to be them. They're going to be that person that's on the outside looking at an argument and realize what you just said makes makes all the sense in the world now. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's what I did. As soon as you
Yeah.
said that, I'm literally from a distance looking at these people arguing. I'm like, man, y'all doing? Like, what y'all doing? Man, that's real shit.
You know what I'm saying? Because
And,
you got
and,
to think
and
about it. Who's the idiot? The person with the crazy idea, the person that's arguing against the crazy idea. I
he
let
now
people believe
became
what
the
they
idiot.
want. Hey,
Yeah, I ain't
if
clearing
that's what you
nothing
want to
up.
believe, cool.
I ain't clearing
I'll share
nothing
my
up.
perspective if you ask. I'm not gonna argue. I'll share my perspective. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna
if
let
you
you,
ask, that's different.
yeah,
If you ask, now you're approaching it from, you know, of opportunity for understanding.
facts.
That's different. That's different. But if you made your assumptions right and you living on your assumptions, I ain't clearing shit up, man. You can. If that's what you believe. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But if you want to have that conversation, then yeah, I'll be open to have that conversations for clarity purposes.
And, and think about it. All the time, you know me, when somebody says something that I think is retarded, all I say is I disagree.
Straight up.
I disagree, and I
Straight
leave it at
up.
that.
And that's okay. Yeah. And
Exactly.
that's
I
okay.
disagree,
And,
and
and, and what do they
I
do?
don't even go to my why unless I'm
Right.
asked. Why do you disagree? Okay, I'll tell you why I disagree.
That's facts. Because that's typically what happens. Well, why do you
Yeah,
disagree? And that provides you the opportunity to elaborate on why you look at it from a different perspective.
absolutely.
But if you don't even give me that opportunity because your mind is already set, once your mind is already made up, man, I'm not going to sit here and try to clarify that for you. Do
Exactly.
you not know I got a million and one different things that I'm already thinking about, and you want me to now entertain your concepts that I didn't even participate in deciding on the factor of how you looked at this? Come on, man, I'm not going to do that.
Exactly.
I had no participation in that, and now you want me to participate in something I had no participation in?
Facts.
Come on, man. I'm not that guy.
Not that guy, man. Hey,
I'm not that
if you
guy,
want to believe
man.
something that I think is asinine, I ain't gonna argue with you about your belief. Now, if I tell you I disagree and then you want to know why I disagree, I'll share it with you. Because I'm the same way. If I say something and people say they disagree, I'll be curious. Why do you disagree? Because like I said, I don't profess to say that I'm the knower of all things. I am a
Exactly.
man with a perspective.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
I'm a
saying?
student of life. I'm a
And I'm
student of
always
life.
open to learning something that I did not know before. So
Right.
if I believe something and someone tells me they disagree, I would like to know what it is that I may not be seeing.
Mm, that's right. That's
So
right.
and all this ties in back to perception is reality.
And you have
However you
control over your perception.
and you control your perception, and however you see life and situations and people is going to be your reality.
Hmm. Straight up. Man, what a build, brother.
Hey
What
man,
a build.
hey, I love it, man. I love to have these discussions. You know, me, my whole goal, the purpose of talking to me is to get to understanding. Because
Hmm.
when you understand each other, you can relate to each other better. And a lot of people, you know, they got limited exposure to different perspectives. And that's why we did this so that we could just show a perspective, you know, on those three D's in life. You
Mm.
know, discernment, the ability to judge, decisions, to make a choice, and deconfliction to avoid collision.
Mm. Well, there it is, man.
Easy
Any
day.
final words, man? Before we get up out of here.
Hey, I don't have no final words. I just want to thank you again for this time as always. And and if anybody got any questions, feel free to put some words in the chat, or if you got questions, or put some in the comments. We'll address them. But like I said, we're here. We're here for the people, not the other way around.
There you go, man. There you go, man. Like always, man, I appreciate you, man, and always value our conversations, man, because to be honest with you, the whole idea for this podcast came from, our conversations. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So because our conversations were so thought provoking, you know what I mean? We both was like, you know what? Hey, we should record this. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And again, we're not professing that we know everything. I'm a student of life. You know what I mean? And I'm okay with not knowing everything. You don't I don't have that type I don't have that type of ego. You don't hurt my feelings because I don't you teaching me something. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't have that type of ego. If I don't know something, I'm going to ask. And that's really where this came from, man. Just being able to have these conversations and now take it to a wider audience so that way we can all build with each other from different walks
Facts.
of life. You know what I'm saying? And
Hey,
man, it's always a pleasure, brother.
facts. And I just one last thing I want to add is, hey, I'm a triple L participant. I'm a big time
A
believer
triple
in
who?
triple L.
What's triple
Lifelong
L?
learning. Lifelong learning.
Oh, okay. Triple L, lifelong
Triple L,
learning.
baby. Lifelong learning. If you take the perspective that you
Mm,
always learning for the rest of your life, it provides you an avenue to always improve.
mm. There it is. There it is. Okay, brother. About to
All
get to
right.
this
Well,
road,
until
man.
next
Always a
time.
pleasure, brother. Until next time, like a mug, man. Always a pleasure, brother.
Already.
All right, now.